Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock Central Time, and that means it is time for Brown Bag Lunch. I'm Dr. John Sherk, and I'm here to help you man your workforce to find all the talent you need and to do it using culture and every other means necessary, but not through overpaying people. So today I want to talk about a teachable point of view. This is a little bit more of a complex idea than I these, but it's an extremely important piece of what glues together the kind of culture that technicians want to work for. Okay, so this concept really became famous when Jack Welch was CEO of GE, and he used this concept and said that the core things that the people in this company need to know are going to flow from the experiences that the senior most people have or have had. And how do we get into those experiences and convert them into transferable wisdom, right? So when we talk about a teachable point of view, what is being able to take a specific point of view and the experiences that have generated that point of view and converting them into policies or courses of action or the experience of being trained or the experience of training. And how do we kind of convert all that into something that coheres into the best culture in town? Now, the quote from Jack Welch is that a point of view is worth about 100 IQ points. So the idea here being that anything we talk about theoretically is of dramatically less value than something that flows through someone's actual experience and can be transferred. So when we talk about a point of view, what do I mean? I'm just talking about a position or a perspective from which something is considered or evaluated. And so a teachable point of view is an opinion which is learned from experience or from observation that will create that informs how to create a desired outcome, right? So the thing is, there's more than one point of view. So if you are a service manager and I say, what is a great technician? That's going to have a different answer than if I say to a technician, what is a great technician, right? If I say to the owner of an air conditioning company, what makes a terrific atmosphere? What makes a terrific job for a technician? You're going to get a different answer than if you talk to a technician. And I can assure you, I talk to technicians every day. The answers that they give to that question are different than the answers an owner gives to that question. That doesn't mean the owner is incompetent or it doesn't mean hearted about technicians. It means you can't possibly have the point of view of a technician if you haven't been a technician, especially, or if you're not a current technician in the current environment that is your company. Okay. So if we want to get into the issue of point of view, first of all, the question is whose point of view? Is it yours or is it the technician's? Now, listen, if your goal is to create an environment that is as inviting and magnetic as possible for all of the best technicians in town, you're not going to get at that without asking those technicians the question, what makes a great culture? What makes a great company? And maybe the real question to start with is, what frustrates you the most? And is there some way to change it? Okay. So let's walk through the process here and we'll touch some bases along the way. There's 4 steps. First step is identifying the pillars. By pillars, I mean, if we had a couple of beers or if we were sitting around a campfire or in some more casual environment, and I said, look, let's just pretend for a minute your goal is to have the best atmosphere, the best culture for technicians in town. What are the 3 to 5 most important components of that, right? That's what I mean by pillars. Now, again, notice the difference between saying to yourself as an owner or even a service manager, I know what those are, but is it coming from your perspective? For example, I can tell you without question, technicians who have more experience and more skill view as a significant detriment having to go solve problems created by rookies. You take a call, the only guy you got to send is a rookie. He burns out the circuit board. He's not qualified to go back and fix that problem. So now your best guy is leaving their family at home Friday night to fix this circuit board. Okay. Now, every technician I talk to in a residential environment brings up this problem. When I say they all do, it's when I say, what are the things that are frustrating you at work? This one is definitely top 2 or 3. Okay. So, if you're the service manager or you're the owner, is that factored into your point of view? Or how do you know what to do about that? You say, well, John, I'm just going to take actual conversation. Now you're getting my point of view. Take actual conversations where they say, well, John, what do you expect me to do? I mean, I have enough guys. And if I send it, I have to say no to business unless I send that rookie out there. Well, Mr. Owner, maybe you should say no to some business. I mean, what is the reputation you want to create for your brand out there? Does that person who has a burnt out circuit board, are they giving you a 5-star review? See, that if you want to have a superior culture for technicians, you've got to get out of that point of view that says, how does it affect me if I say no to business? And get into the framework, the mindset, the perspective. What does it do to the technician when I say yes to business and the only guy I got to send is not qualified? Okay. So what are the pillars? In a service manager's point of view, what makes a great tech? They're going to say things like loyalty, talent, and aim to please attitude. If you ask a tech what makes a great tech, they're going to say things like talent, but toughness, tolerance of being on call, tolerance of pushy dispatchers, the things that they're going to bring up. There's going to be an overlap, but there's going to be some things in there that are not the ones you would see as most important. And then lastly, from a tech's point of view, what makes a great culture? And I just can't tell you how important it is, the first part of that question, from a tech's point of view. So they're going to say things like fair compensation. The older guys are going to talk about back in the day when it used to be the rookie got the old truck and you had to work your way up to the new truck. And then this compression happened as talent got fewer and jobs got more plentiful, where it took a new truck just to get that guy in the door. The compression of salaries where, it used to be a bigger gap. And now you got guys with 10 years experience who are not from guys who are coming in the door because that's what it takes to get them in the door. Okay. So they're going to talk about fair compensation. They're going to talk about respect. They're going to talk about, do I have the opportunity to do what I know I was born to do? Or am I constantly being rushed off of a job site because somebody with a stopwatch is telling me it's time to move on? All right. They're going to talk about the ability to self-prioritize. I can't tell you how many techs talk about feeling pressure to leave important family events and go answer a call because you're the only guy I've got, right? So that's what they're going to talk about in terms of a great culture. So you ask, what are the pillars? And then step 2 is ask why. What is it about that thing that makes it a pillar? And so as you get into that, initially, there's going to be these pillars are going to have certain forms. Some of those pillars are going to be, they're going to take the form, the wisdom inside that pillar is going to take the form of, say, a cause and effect principle. Here's how to get a raise. Here's how to please a customer. Here's how to build a relationship. When you do or say X, Y happens. It's a cause-effect kind of pillar. Other pillars are going to be eternal principles of life or business or work. It's like X always matters. So in this pillar, then aim to please attitude always matters. Empathy always matters. Okay. Or there's going to be things that certain behaviors that always apply. So in other words, in the way this pillar takes form is always do X or never do X. From a commercial perspective, always clean the whole mechanical room. If you go into a commercial building and you're there to do maintenance, there's a customer dynamic when you say, well, look, I'm here to wash the coil. So you go in and wash the coil and you put the same dirty cover back on and the same filthy room around it. The perceived service goes way down, right? What you need to have is not only actual performed maintenance, but perceived job well done by a customer, including those who don't really understand the technology. And so if everything you're doing is under a cover and you ignore everything else, that customer is going to question the quality of work that you've performed, right? So so if we're talking about one of the pillars is an aim to please attitude with customers. Well, if that's the case, then always clean the mechanical room. Which sidewalks the key administrators walk? Where do they park and what is their building? And are there any units visible to them from the car to the building? Now, with those units, I want those things painted. I want those covers painted. I want it to look like a freaking 4-H project. I want that thing to look manicured because that's the machine they're going to see. So if a pillar is happy customers, if a pillar is an aim to please attitude, how does that express itself? Always do X, right? Those three things, those pillars are going to have one of these three expressions. It's either understanding of a cause-effect dynamic, an eternal principle of life, business, or work, or behaviors that always apply, okay? Now, step 3 here is 5 levels of happiness. And this is where, when we're talking about the perspective of a technician, there's 5 sort of meta-level perspectives of every technician, okay? The specifics are going to flow through whichever level they're at. And we've talked about this in other videos, but I'm going to repeat them here. There's 5 levels of technicians, not skill, but what their needs are in order to be happy in that job. Level 1 are their immediate needs. They have questions that level 1 is like, how am I going to pay the rent this month? Are my kids okay? Down here in the South, we have hurricanes. And it's very common for a hurricane to come through a technician's house as a complete washout, and they're getting called back onto the job, and they have no certainty that they don't know where to go tonight. They don't have power. They don't know what's happening. That's a level 1 technician. Sometimes when you bring a guy in the door the first month, it's been a while since if it's been a while since he worked. How do I meet rent this month? That's level 1, immediate needs. Now think about it. To what degree is that tech going to say great benefit is part of a great work environment? It's not that important to them, right? They want to know, when do I get paid? How do I get paid? What do I have to do out of pocket to start here? It's a level 1 tech. Level 2 is establishing security over time. Okay. This is the one who says, okay, I know I'm going to make rent this month, but what's going to happen over the next several months? Am I going to be constantly at risk of losing my job? Or is there a feeling of security here? Right. That the needs that are met, that as long as I do my job and I have an understanding of my piece of the puzzle, so as long as I do that faithfully, I'm going to be able to extend this feeling of security well into the future. Okay. This is where things like benefits or insurance do come into play. That, how do I begin to see myself as not just trying to survive today, but how do I create a feeling of extended well-being over time, knowing there's a kind of social contract where I do my part and they do their part. Okay. The next level through, after that is established, what becomes important are intimacy and relationships. And so once I know I have a sense of security here, things like lunches or people that work that are friends after hours are going to become more important. How are my relationships? How is my relationship with my manager, with my service manager, with my supervisor, right? So the relationship thing comes next, as well as at this level, when we talk about teamwork. One of the most common mistakes I see people make when it comes to wanting to create a culture of teamwork is they don't respect the other 2 levels first. If you have people who are at level 1 or level 2, meaning how are my needs going to be met this month? Or do I have security here over time? What you do to create teamwork, they will respond to that with a fake, yay, I'm on the team. right? But that's not really what they're after. What they're really after is feeling secure. If they feel secure, the next thing they do want is that feeling of team. And so very often a manager who feels secure says, let's be a team, to people who are not feeling secure. And that formation of the sense of togetherness and team corrodes their perception of the culture instead of building it. Right? You've got to tend to security first, then teamwork. Now, level 4 is about esteem among their peers. Again, so now I've got friends here. I feel secure here. I could probably work here, short of some economic disaster, I'd probably retire here if I want to. But do I have the respect of my peers? And this is where things like titles or certain kinds of public recognition, having relationships with people that you have mentored and they look up to you. This is what makes, so at level 4, if you say, look, I really want to hire technicians who have over 10 years of experience, they really know what they're doing, and so on, right? My question to you is, how are you going to give them esteem? Because if what you want to do is offer them security, level 2, oh man, you're going to be great here. You can work here as long as you want. They can work anywhere as long as they want. They don't need security. They've already got it baked in. What they need to know is, do I have a future here? I mean, this is a family-owned business. Is there somewhere to go here? If I take this job, is it the end of my upward movement in this company here? Am I going to be respected here? Or am I just going to be another cog in a machine, right? Esteem among their peers and within the organization. And then level 5 is achieving full potential. So once esteem has really been established, and there's a general strong sense of respect of this person, I know, are you going to give me the ability every day to do what I was born to do? Or am I going to be wearing shackles around some kind of oddball process or some pushy dispatcher, right? So for all 5 of these technicians, if I ask the question, what makes a great culture? Frankly, level 1 and 2 don't even care about that question. They're trying to establish their own personal security, right? Level 3, that's going to be about relationships. Level 4, that's going to be about esteem. And level 5, a great culture is going to provide the freedom to do what I was born to do and what I know how to do, what I'm the best at. Okay. So when you look at your pillars, every one of those pillars has got to land with an understanding of those 5 levels. Okay. That's why this gets a little bit more complex, and why, in a sense, you can create a general culture, but you have to tend to every person, every technician, where they are at. If they're at level 4 and the issue is esteem, you can't brag about how secure you are and how we feel around here. They don't care about that. That does not create a great culture for them. If anything, it makes them wonder whether they're at the wrong place, because if we don't fire anybody, whose screw-ups am I going to have to solve this time? Right? At the other end of it, if you're dealing with level 2, they want to know what gets me fired, right? So, and then lastly, at step 4, step 4 is converting it all to a story where your pillar is the moral of the story. Okay, so this is the retelling of how you learned this lesson. So imagine telling a story of a time that you went to management and you got a raise, and then the moral of this, you said so here's the moral of the story. If you want to pay a raise, never start that conversation with a complaint about fairness. Okay, I'm not sure that that's actually a truth. Actually, a conversation about fairness might get people a raise. So understand the general sense of this, that this is, you have a story to tell about how things work. How does this organization work? What are the cause-effect dynamics in this relationship? What are the things that always matter in this organization? What are the things to always do or never do in this organization? And be able to tell them in a way of a senior, experienced person passing on their wisdom to junior. Now, as you develop this sense, and reach out to me. I wonder sometimes with this lesson if I shouldn't put together like a 2-hour workshop that's just designed to help you put together your own teachable point of view. Send me a message if you like that idea, and it'll be a free workshop. But if you like that idea, just send me a message and say, yeah, I'd be interested in that workshop, and we'll put something together next month. But The point of all this is to say that if you want to express leadership when it comes to culture and offering a culture that genuinely competes for the best talent in your labor market, you have to have a teachable point of view. Because here's what happens. Once you have that teachable point of view, you can get into conversations with technicians who don't work for you yet and have the conversation with them. Here's what I think. What do you think? What do you think makes the atmosphere great for a technician? And when they begin to have that conversation with you, guess what? A relationship forms around the very things that will make them want to work for you. And they're going to realize, at minimum, this guy is actually wanting to know and wanting to do the things that make this the best culture in town, to make this the best work environment in town. And he certainly seems to be open to feedback from me about what that would be. All right. That's creating the avenue when this other technician on their Friday night at that other company is getting called out and they've had enough, and you're their next phone call. Do you have a spot? Right? So this teachable point of view isn't some theoretical exercise that you do at some manager retreat. It's something you have to have in your hip pocket. It's a kind of conversation. It's a perspective. To some degree, it's a belief system, but it's a conversation you can easily have with a technician, because when you have this conversation, it creates that magnetic draw to you, because you're now verbalizing and expressing this culture. You're not just putting up a banner in your warehouse. Okay, we care about techs. That's not even close to enough. Okay, so all right, the teachable point of view. There's a lot here. So if you'd like to get together, talk about it some more. How do I get this thing figured out? For sure, if you'd like to have a workshop on this thing, we'll set it up for next month if there's some interest. I am Dr. John Sherk. This has been Brown Bag Lunch. And just like every week on Wednesday, I'm going to give you all I can at no cost to you to help you build the organization that you've been dreaming of, and to be able to compete for technical talent and not just for business. We'll see you next week.